We always have to listen to educators. We always have to be careful of the algorithms and the biases that are built into them. And we always have to make sure that we're putting first the safety of our students.
You're watching The Big Deal. The new school year is in full swing all around the country, and as we have previously reported, many schools are implementing cell phone bans. But public schools and universities alike are also dealing with the rise of artificial intelligence. First Lady Melania Trump this week held a meeting of the White House Task Force on AI Education with tech CEOs, all in the hopes of preparing the next generation for the growth of AI. Some teachers have been cautious about the technology, but at Ohio State University, one professor is embracing artificial intelligence. Spectrum News reporter Cassidy Wilson has those details.
Inside Vince Castillo's classroom, the Ohio State University professor is embracing the sudden rise of artificial intelligence.
AI is here to stay. We can't really push that toothpaste back in the tube.
Kanch Puranik took Castillo's class last semester.
I remember AI was something that just popped up back in 2023, I think. One of our professors in the logistics department started integrating it in our classroom.
He built his own AI assistant called Supply Chain Brutus.
You'll notice at the bottom we have these citations, Chapter 2, Chapter 3. That's the evidence that it's actually going to my textbook.
Using your textbook.
And pulling some information.
Could they go back and say they want to brush up on Chapter 2, for example?
Exactly.
Then they can reference that. Starting this semester, OSU has added an AI fluency initiative. That includes AI education as part of every undergraduate curriculum.
Now it's on us in the university, but also to an extent the students to come together and figure out what does it mean to learn and teach in this new age of artificial intelligence.
When Puranik was in Castillo's class last semester, he says Supply Chain Brutus was a helpful tool.
It's really good at coding, it's really good at analysis, and it's also there to help us as a resource to learn when maybe the professor is not able to answer our questions. I've definitely used it past midnight a few times.
But it comes with its risks, and it doesn't do all the work.
At the end of the day, you also need to make sure that what it's giving out is applicable to the problem at hand. So that's why it's an important step, but it's not something that finishes the assignment for you.
Along with risks, Castillo says he has his concerns.
Costs of AI, like with carbon emissions. Being fluent in AI is about understanding these trade-offs.
But overall, Castillo says he's spoken to professors who are looking forward to incorporating AI into their lessons. Cassidy Wilson, Spectrum News.
Joining me now with more on this is Rebecca Pringle, the president of the National Education Association. They are the nation's largest labor union, mainly representing public school teachers. I'm so glad to talk with you, and I wanted to talk about ChatGPT, which has been around since November of 2022, meaning a freshman in college has had access to generative artificial intelligence for most of their high school years. What are your members telling you is their main concern, and how is it different from past efforts to bring technology into the classroom, meaning calculators, laptops, and cell phones?
It's good to be with you. As I travel around the country, Errol, and talk with our members, educators in every state throughout the country, the reality is that AI is here, and many of them are already using it. Many of them have had the opportunity to help create some of the tools. And so for us at the NEA and the task force that I put together to study these issues, both the challenges and the opportunities of AI, they tell us consistently what needs to happen is to make sure that educators are at the center of every decision that's made around policy. They're at the center of the development of tools, and they're at the center of making sure that educators continue to grow and grow their learning and understanding around the possibilities and perils of AI technology.
Okay, and I don't always want new technology to sound negative. I've noticed that there are administrators who are also using some of these tools, right? I mean, there are some cases where artificial intelligence tools detect items like missing classes, getting low grades, not signing on to class websites, so that you can actually predict when a student might be falling behind, and you can stage some early interventions, which seems very powerful and very positive.
There are so many promises with AI technology, from efficiencies for educators with the work that they have to do and paperwork, that kind of thing, as well as meeting some special needs, particularly of our students with disabilities. But we always have to listen to educators. We always have to be careful of the algorithms and the biases that are built into them. And we always have to make sure that we're putting first the safety of our students. And for that to happen, we have to make sure we are listening to educators, we are involving them at every step of the way, and they are part of making the decisions for our students.
I read through your task force report. Several of the recommendations urge the Federal Department of Education to fund research into AI use for education and also issue guidance to states and local districts about how to integrate AI into the classroom and ensure transparency, protect families and students, and so forth. But the Trump administration has been dismantling the Department of Education. The number of employees, I think the headcount is down by about 50% this year. Is anybody left to implement these suggestions that you're making? Or are you going to maybe take them elsewhere to set national standards?
Not only has the department been decimated, so that means that there are not people to implement the recommendations from educators across the country. But we also are concerned about the dismantling of the Office of Civil Rights at the Department of Education, because we understand especially the importance of making sure that we are protecting the access of all students, making sure that we are actually focused in on and not disregarding equity, access, and inclusion. And our concern, and what we've been lifting our voices about with the Trump administration, is that it is disregarding equity. It is disregarding security. It's disregarding regulations that are designed to protect our students. So we are working with partners who will work with us, organizations, and those that are on the front lines of AI technology to make sure that educators themselves are positioned to help create and make decisions about the use of AI in our classrooms.
Okay, and then I guess at the other end of the scale, in our last minute here, has this been an issue at the bargaining table? Are different school systems providing sufficient training and guidance about how to integrate AI into the classroom?
You know, Errol, I taught middle school science for 31 years. And I didn't know when I stepped into the classroom that every decision that was made for my kids, about my classrooms, about everything, was made by somebody who was elected or appointed to office. That's why it's so important at every level, whether you're negotiating a contract, whether you are lobbying at the state legislature, or if you are fighting to make sure that the administration at the federal level is doing right by our students. It's important that educators have that voice at every level, and they are making sure that they are at the table making decisions at the district level about policy, at the state level, and we are making sure that they are trained to be those leaders as well as be those educators who are trained and have the professional responsibility and authority to make teaching and learning decisions for their students.
Okay, thank you very much, Becky Pringle. Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. Let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth political coverage, and click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV to learn more about the candidates, where they stand on the issues, and more. We'll see you then.